take it away and educate all of us on mastering your mindset.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. So today, I actually keep track of this because I'm the craziest person ever. You guys are the 50-second call or speech that I've spoken on this topic. So to say that I am obsessed with mastering your mindset and perspective is definitely something that I'm proud of. I often, whenever I meet people, they say, so what do you do? And before I tell them I'm a Beachbody coach, I actually tell them I'm the master of mindset. And so for me, whenever I do this call, I choose to share my background and my story because I really have to paint the picture of how hard life truly was before becoming a coach and how far I've come since then. And I don't share it to stand on a soapbox and say, look at me. I share it to remind you of what's possible. And so sometimes we just see the highlight reels and we see where people are and you hear all these accolades and where they're at in the company. And then we just think, oh, well, that's them. I could never do that. And so I want to share my story with you, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on mindset and some tips for you guys, my favorite personal development, and all the goodies. And if you guys have questions, please ask at the end. You can type them down in the chat box. I love questions because when I'm done this, I'm always pumped up, and then I feel like people are just staring at me. So I really encourage questions. So I'm 30 years old. I just got married this summer. I grew up on the East Coast in Boston, Massachusetts. I now live 3,000 miles away from there in Northern California in Lake Tahoe. Been a coach for 26 months. And before ever becoming a coach, life was very different. Life for me on the East Coast looked like this. You went to school, or I went to school. I got good grades. I really raced to have that fancy resume and the fancy corporate title and as many hours as I could on my timesheet. And I fought for that salary, and I went home and I did it all over again the next day. And no offense to anyone on the East Coast, but living in California and living on the East Coast are two completely different lives. And so the way I was raised was you get the best education you can, and then you get the best corporate job, and then you get a little bit older, you get married, you have kids, you buy a house, you get old, you gain some weight, you get wrinkly, and you have gray hair. And that was my perspective on life. So when I moved out here to the West Coast, I was like, wait, hold up. There's a whole different world out here. And it's funny because I married a pure California boy who just had this amazing excitement and passion and positivity about life. And then there's me, this corporate chick who hated her life, had ulcers at the age of 24, and was severely depressed and in debt. So the two together, it's hilarious that we're married now. I've come a long way. So when I graduated college, I got the fancy corporate job as a retail store manager at Verizon Wireless. And at a very young age, I did well for myself, but I really wasn't happy with my career, but I settled. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I did what I was told to do. When I turned 24, I got really antsy to travel, and that is when I moved to California. Now, when I moved to California, I transferred my Verizon job, and when I got here, the lifestyle was amazing. I don't know if you guys know Lake Tahoe. Go Google it, Google images. Your jaw will hit the floor. It's amazing. It looks like a postcard. And so I was miserably happy, if that makes sense. I was in the most amazing playground in the world, but I couldn't play in it because I had to go to work every day. And when I got here, I ended up actually working for the devil. Straight up, my boss was the worst person I've ever met in my life. Still to this day, I've not met someone more rotten than her. I worked with her for a year and a half. I became more stressed. I became more angry at the world because life was happening to me. I was playing the victim role, or I felt victimized. She spoke down to me, and I'd never had any problems. I had done this job for almost 6 years, and she made me feel this big. And so over time, that can really build up. And I had no self-confidence. And so my Mr. California boyfriend that I had met, I call him Mr. Rainbows and Butterflies, wanted nothing to do with me because I was so miserably unhappy with everything. And so he actually left me for a little while because he's like, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I love you, but you got to figure your stuff out. When I came into work one day, my boyfriend had just left me. I found out that my boss wanted to transfer me to another store. So I was excited because I didn't have to work with this horrible devil anymore. But what I found out was she transferred me to a store that was closing. So I had all my eggs in one basket, my career job with a very successful company. It's not like Verizon Wireless is hurting for money. They decided to close 17 stores in California and Nevada. And my devil boss found out that the store she wanted to transfer me to was closing. So for whatever reason, I lost my job, and I felt like my life was ending. And so here I am in debt, unhappy, no job, no boyfriend, 3,000 miles away from my family, and even my grandfather passed away during that season. So to say life was happening to me, I think I'm painting a pretty clear picture of I was really down in the dumps. And I know that you guys probably hear about people losing their jobs all the time. Like, until it happens to you, you really don't understand what that feels like, to have the rug ripped out from underneath you. And I hope it's never happened to anyone here. So I took the next year or so to kind of stand back up on my own 2 feet. I ended up managing a tanning salon, working at a nightclub until 4:30 in the morning. I did graphic design on the side. I mean, I had to make ends meet. I went from a corporate salary to nothing. So one day, just like most of us, I was scrolling on social media, trying to figure out my life. And deep down inside, I mean, if you look at my resume, I really should have been able to get any job that I wanted. But I did not want to go back to that life. After being here in California and living in a beautiful place, I knew that there were many other ways around it. And so I fought going back to the corporate world for as long as I possibly could. And when I was scrolling on social media one day, that's when I came across my upline, who is Elizabeth Hartkey. If you don't know her, follow her. Her social media posting is amazing, so inspiring. She was just on the National Wake Up Call a few weeks ago, or I think a month ago now. And I went to high school with her. And here's what interested me in coaching. And here is kind of where my whole mindset started to shift. It wasn't about, hey, I earned $10,000 in a month, or it wasn't, hey, I lost 40 pounds. It was a photo of her standing there with her husband with the Beachbody Happy Glow, with a cup of coffee in her hand, and that's all I wanted. I wanted to feel happy. I wanted to be there with my boyfriend that had left me. I missed him dearly. I was physically so sick, and I was so depressed it hurt. And so I saw her happy. She was actually in front of the Disneyland castle at that very moment, the happiest place in the world. And I was like, man, I really just want a piece of that pie. So from that moment on, I'm not kidding you guys, I decided I need to do what she did. I don't have any other option. I went all in and I reached out to her. And I said, hey, I want to coach. I don't know what you're doing. I don't even know what a coach is. I live in a mountain town where my Wi-Fi stinks. Hopefully you guys can hear all this. And so I have no idea how I'm going to grow a business. But I went out and I bought a planner. I bought a binder. Like literally I was printing out things about coaching and putting it in a binder. And I was like, this is my chance to run a business, because my opportunity was taken away from me in the most unfair way. And I was so angry about it that I let it fuel my fire. So I signed up with T25 and Vanilla Shakeology. And for me, I said, Colleen, if you can't do 25 minutes a day, 5 days a week, I'm not sure how you're going to change your life. And for me, I felt like if I wanted to, be awesome at life and advance in my life, I had to feel good first. We all know that no matter what job or as happy as you are, if you wake up feeling like crap every day, you're probably not getting much done. So that's kind of how I got into Beachbody. And so now I want to share with you guys more about mindset. So you understand where I came from, you understand where I entered Beachbody. And so when I signed up, we didn't have Coach Basics. I did a phone call with my coach and she was like, hey, you need to hit Emerald and you need to help 3 to 5 people a month and you need to share your story, read a book, drink Shakeology, do a workout. I was like, all right, I got this. And that's all I knew how to do. So when I started this, it's not that I had any advantage over anyone else, but my why was so strong. So as I was showing up every single day, I was hitting Success Club. I was helping some people. I was getting likes on my photos and things like that. I was being very coachable. So I was doing the bare minimum of what we're supposed to do. And then I started to analyze successful to what I was making. And I was, let's say a year into the business now. And I was like, I feel like I'm missing something. And it was my mindset. I was allowing all the self-sabotaging thoughts of, well, that's Liz. I can't write like Liz. She's a really good writer. Or a lot of people don't know the people in our uplines above us because they're the men and the millionaires in this business who don't care about ranking recognition. They're here to make money, and they've changed a lot of lives because of it, but they're not in the spotlight. So luckily, I was able to learn from some very successful people in this business. And I was like, they have something about them that's so different. So as I read more personal development and as I modeled after successful people, I realized that I started to adopt their mindset. I started to talk like they were. And so that's when I became obsessed with mindset, because there was, my current plan wasn't working. I wasn't getting the type of results that I wanted. I wanted everything that Beachbody had to offer me. That was what my goal was. And so a lot of people think that mindset is a bunch of hocus pocus and that they don't need it. Well, I wish you good luck and tell me how that works for you. Because if you think about how every successful person that think about it, whether they're a sports athlete, an Olympian athlete, your mom, your dad, any of them who inspire you deeply, are they a negative person or do they practice good thinking? And I already know your answer. So that is the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. It's how you think. It's the thoughts that you allow into your brain. And that's the one that most people ignore. So how do I get positive, Colleen? Is that even a saying, get positive? How do I become positive? How do I change my mindset? First things first is do not allow those lingering self-sabotaging thoughts floating around your mind. That is the hardest thing in the world to do, but that's why most people don't do it. It takes a lot of brain power and discipline. But just like we want the six pack, and just like we want to lose the 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 pounds, it's hard work, discipline, and effort. But I promise you that your life, not even just your business, will change if you give this a chance. It will take some time. It took me about 8 to 10 months to actually understand this. And I wasn't really calling it mastering my mindset in the beginning, but I don't know, that title just became about probably around the 10-month mark as I started, because people were asking me, Colleen, how are you doing this? How are you making more changes? And I said, to be honest with you, I mastered my mindset. So I want to share with you guys another trick that worked for me when it came to mastering my mindset. Because think about it. When you guys wake up in the morning, we're adults, we're grown adults. Our brains are trained to wake up and go, oh, the baby's crying. Oh, I gotta wake up, I'm late for work. Ooh, I gotta take a shower. Oh, I didn't do all my invites from my coaching business yesterday. And all the worries and the stress, it's just normal. We just let it all flow and we don't control it. So when I decided to start thinking about my thinking, I was like, holy cow, there's all sorts of craziness going on in my brain right now. And here's the example that did it all for me. And so isn't it so interesting how two people can be looking at the exact same scenario and see two completely different things? Here's the example I want to give that you guys can use day to day. So there's sister A and there's sister B. And every day we have a choice to be A or B. You have the choice to conquer or to crumble. You can look at it whatever way you want. So sister A and sister B, they're hanging out at the kitchen table at dinner time, and mom brings over the mail and hands sister A this envelope. And she's like, hey, open it. That looks like a really cool piece of paper. It looks all fancy. What is it? She opens it up. She gets accepted into this graduate program that she's been working so hard. She's so excited to advance in her life. She has to go to the schooling. Sorry, my phone's ringing off. She has to get into the school to get to the next point in her career. And then sister B, and so she gets into the school, if I didn't say that. She opens it, she's pumped, she's celebrating. Sister A gets in. Sister B is looking at her and goes, oh, that really sucks. You have 4 more years of school? No thanks. And isn't it funny that two sisters can really look at the exact same scenario and say, oh, no thanks, or they celebrate the hard work, the challenge, the obstacle, the struggle, all of that. So every single day when I wake up, when I have the struggles and the obstacles and the things standing in my way, I can ask myself, am I going to be sister A and look at the opportunity to grow, to learn, to fail as a good thing because successful people practice good thinking? Or am I going to look at it like sister B and say, no thanks, that's a little too hard for me. And then your brain power just shuts off and you push it out. And that's why more people are not successful, because they see it as, that's too much work. And so I'll give you guys a very raw, true, real, very real example of in my life how mastering my mindset has been what I like to call my insurance. And I don't even know any of you guys on this call, and I'm sharing my real raw life with you guys because that's how this is in this business. So October 2014, I had a text message from my husband where I had the opportunity to conquer or crumble. Sister A, Sister B, perspective. And he texted me, I have testicular cancer, as he's at the doctor getting a checkup. And I'm like, what? I'm 30, he's 24. I'm like a cougar. And so this 24-year-old man has testicular cancer. We don't even have kids yet. And so in that very moment, I knew that was the universe's way of saying, we're going to test you, because you talk about this mindset. You talk about how you want to be successful in life. And so, I mean, death happens, our best coaches quit happen, car accidents happen, like crazy things happen. And I know I'm getting a little dark here, but I'm being honest with you guys, in that very moment, I was like, we got the universe dead on. And instead of saying, team, life got a little crazy, I got to back off for a little bit. You know, I don't think that I can really work the business right now, because what was I going to go do? Go hang out with my husband and cry about cancer? I could. But if I didn't master my mindset, I would have. The old Colleen would have cried in the corner. I probably would have lost my whole business. And who knows what would have happened. But I stood up to the challenge and I conquered it together with my husband. And we're like, we got this. I dove into my business as much as I could. I rank advanced. I doubled my income. I showed up every day. I was the coach who said, I will never do Insanity Max 30 or Insanity period. And guess who's in the Insanity Max 30 infomercial? Ha! I'm laughing at this because I was the girl who said, I can't, I won't, I this. And I shut it all out and I got really angry for a long time. And that's the way that I was thinking about everything. So mastering your mindset is going to be your insurance, because I promise you something crazy is going to come along the way. And where's your insurance at? Where's your mind at? Are you just going to shut down? You know, we worry about people judging the things that we post. Like, those are the small things. None of that really matters. What matters is things like the ugly word cancer, okay? So as a business owner, you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared for all the good and all the bad. So how else can you master your mindset? Well, you're literally training your brain. Everything we think, everything we feel, everything we believe can literally be changed. So when people tell me, but I'm shy, what, you don't think you can ever change being shy? Or I'm an introvert. I'm actually an extroverted introvert. What that means is, would you guys think I'm an introvert? Probably not, because I'm really excited and engaging and all those type of things. But I'm not the person who wants to hang out with people all day long. I need my recharge. I need my personal time, which is why I love this business, because I can work in my office and get on Zoom chats like this. So for whatever reasons you're telling yourself you can't do something, make it the reason that you can. Man, I hope everything's okay. My phone's blowing up right now. So training your brain literally down to the very moment of you wake up tomorrow, your feet hit the ground, think about your thinking. What's the first thing that comes into your mind? What's the first thing that you're allowing into your mind? That's why I do my personal development in the morning, because it's the first hour of my day. If the first thing you do when you wake up is scroll Facebook, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because it's either going to end up really good or really bad. And I've learned that 2 years into this business. So for me, I have the luxury of staying home. So I put my phone on my pillow, and I'm kind of a lazy bum in the morning, but I'm being productive, and I listen to my PD with my phone literally right here next to my head. Some days I do get up and I want to hop in the shower. So I bought a little wireless Bluetooth speaker on Groupon for like $20, and I listen to PD in the shower. There are so many ways that you can fill your brain with positivity in the first hour of the day. So why is a strong mind crucial? Like, why should you care two hoots about what I'm saying right now? Here's why, especially in this business. Because when you have a strong mind, you do not look to others for validation. I know what I want, and I'm going to go after it. And guess who taught me that? The one and only Amy Silverman. She, for me, is a huge inspiration because I align with a lot of her values and experiences. Her husband, Kevin, also used to work a retail job like me, and we've shared so many stories back and forth. And she one day said to me, she said, are you asking for permission to go after your goals? Are you asking people that is it okay if I do this? Because if you're asking and waiting for people to approve of what you're doing, good luck. So when you have your mind made, and I'm a dog mom, so I use the term squirrel syndrome. So that would be put your blinders on, and you're not going to let all these crazy squirrels distract you, okay? You need to put your blinders on. You need to train your brain Think about your thinking and go in one direction, and it's forward. That's the word I used to have to say to myself when I was like, how am I physically going to get out of bed today? I'm so depressed. I hate the world. Yada, yada, all the things that, really upset people say. I said, I have to move forward. I had to draw the line in the sand. And so when I made up my mind, I decided to never go back. Put your blinders on and go in one direction, and it's forward. The book You Are a Badass, I know is kind of old news now in this business, but here's my deal with that book. If you read that book, it's not like you read the book and you say, oh, chapter 1 was awesome. Chapter 2, not really for me. Chapter 3, pretty cool. Chapter 4, oh, awesome. I love chapter 4. You got to soak it all in. You have to kind of surrender and leave your ego at the door and leave all the sad, hurtful things at the door and just say, I'm ready for the change, and soak it in. So that book for me was like the wake-up call that I needed, because she called me out. Jen Sincero, the author, called me out on all my bluffs and all the lies I was telling myself for so long. So if you haven't read that book, go for it. You have to catch yourself in the moments where you feel weak. And so I'm reading the book Entrepreneur Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy right now. And I'm reading that because I'm really diving into training my new coaches. And I really want to set them up to help them understand that this is not an easy ride. And I love how he uses the example of the roller coaster. So I'm going to get real corny and funny with you guys right now. So when you sign up as a Beachbody coach and you hop on this roller coaster, you're joining the ride and your upline straps you in and you're like, yeah, let's do this, right? So then the roller coaster ride starts and you're going up the hill and you're all pumped, and then you like get a little higher and you're like, holy crap, this is really scary. And then you get to the top and you're like, I feel like I'm going to throw up. And then you start plummeting. And then all the scary, horrible, awful challenges and struggles happen. Your hat flies off, your cell phone falls out. Then you go into the dark tunnel where you can't see anything. And then water is poured on you. And then you're twisting upside down, literally, in your life. And then when you come down to the end of the ride, you're like, oh, I survived. That was actually really fun. That is how serious this ride is. So when you're struggling, it's okay to struggle. I want you to accept and swallow that big, hairy curveball that's going to come into your life at one point in this business and be okay with it. But it's how long you stay down that matters. It's the ones that get up the fastest. So struggles and failures, accept them, embrace them. Woosah, it's going to be all good. I have now embraced struggle and challenge to the point that I actually kind of am fearless. Nothing scares me that I kind of get bored. So I go do really crazy things with this business and things I've never tried before so long. So that comes to my next point of empowering you. And you probably hear this all the time, but you have to empower yourself. How do you do that? You have two options. You can either take a baby step and say, okay, I did it. Now what? You take another step. Okay, I did it. Or you can be like me and you can fall on your face 10 times and smash your teeth out of your face and still get back up. I like that kind of thrill because I'm crazy, but not everyone is like that. So pick your poison. One step forward, empower yourself however it may be. So you know that really awesome list of things that our coach tells us to do in the files section of our team page or in the trainings, like make a video or share your before and after or share the scariest part of your story or lead a team training or I don't know, the millions of things that our coaches tell us to do. Those are the things you guys need to be doing, because when you do them, you're showing yourself what's possible and you're showing yourself that you can do it. And if you can't do it for you, how on earth are you guys expecting to have a team? You have to lead yourself first. So get your mind right, focus on it, obsess on it, think about it as much as you possibly can, just like your workouts, and you will start to see so much change. Okay, so when you realize that fear is emotional, also known as your mindset, things become a little bit easier. So if there's something that you're absolutely like, palms are sweating, knees are buckling, I'm so scared to do this in this business. When you realize it's only you against you and no one else is really even understanding what's going on, it's all up here, that's when you're going to go, okay, I probably should work on my mindset, or I probably should take that step forward. I always find it so interesting, like about self-limitations, how people just place them, oh, like, well, I'm not really like that, so yeah, like that's not my thing. Like, why are we placing ourselves in this box? Why you can do it. That's the mentality you have to survive in this business. If someone else has done it, you can do it. It's not a comparison game. It's not you comparing against the other person. It's believing. Because as a good thinker, you would focus on what's possible, not the, oh, well, this person has this and this person has that. Not allowed. Don't allow it in your brain. And sometimes you're really going to have to force it. And I mean, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and be weird and be like, girlfriend, you got this. I had to lie a little bit to myself at first too. I want to talk about failure, and I'll recommend some PD, and then if you guys have questions. So failure is usually our biggest fear. When people don't sign up or when they don't try something, or I know for a fact the only reason that they don't try is because they're afraid of failing. Mindy Wender taught me to replace the word failure with the word stumble. So stumbling is my biggest fear. That just sounds ridiculous. And what's really funny about this business is I would love for someone to tell me how you actually fail in this business. Like if you can think of something, write it in the chat box. How do you fail at this business? You, let's say, didn't hit Success Club. Did you fail at the business? Life is over. Carl Deichler ripped away your coach ID. You failed. You can't really fail in this business unless you quit. And I like to add, don't try. Because if you're just sitting there wondering why nothing's happening, I don't know if I can help you. You have to want this as much as I want it for you. I match your effort is what I say to my coaches. Otherwise, they suck the living energy out of me. Failure is only a delay. So let's even say stumbling is only a delay. I got to 1 star last year and I dropped to Emerald. It took me 4 weeks to get it back. Does that mean I failed? No. I missed Elite last year because I grew my husband's business account and I have diamonds everywhere. I possibly miss Elite this year for the 2nd year in a row. I'm going to work my butt off, but am I a failure if I don't hit Elite? No. The only person that really thinks that you're a failure is yourself. Master your mindset, guys. It's all in your brain. We hear that all the time. It's all in your head. No, but for real, it is all in your head. So personal development, again, I'm such a corny person. Personal development is like this little fancy invisible floating tool belt that is around your waist at all times. And if you're not reading personal development and a struggle or an obstacle comes your way, a hater comes on your page, and you don't have a tool to whip out and tell yourself it's going to be okay, that's your sign that you need more tools in that invisible tool belt. Because I seriously feel like life could throw anything at me, and I'm like, tools, I got it, no problem. When I was a new coach, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. It's not that my coach wasn't like guide people are advancing, and there's so many more coaches now. That's why it's evolving so fast, because there's so much more support. All I knew how to do was read personal development because I felt like I was bettering myself. So some books that really helped me are No Excuses by Brian Tracy. This is the book that gave me the slap in the face and helped me realize that no one's going to rank advance for me. No one is going to do the work for me. No one's going to grow my income for me, even if I stick around and do nothing for 2 years. It's not like, oh, wait around for 2 years and your income will grow. No, you get to work every single day, show up every single day, do what we tell you, not tell you, advise you to do, and then your income will grow. Thinking for a Change by John C. Maxwell. I don't really think that's like everyone's favorite book, but everyone always asks me what book helped me. That was during my times when I became obsessed with the mindset thing, so I was reading anything about thinking. The Magic of Thinking Big, I think it's David Schwartz. If you guys could see my desk right now, it's so embarrassing, so I'm not going to even try to look for the book. It's so messy. But that is a great book. You guys have to be possibility thinkers. You have to dream big. Before coaching, I thought the word dream was for celebrities. I honestly thought that celebrities were the people that got the houses and the fancy cars, and I don't even want any of that, but like the word dream, that's what I thought of. Like a vision board to me is like all the stuff that I'd never have before coaching. And now it's so crazy that I just finally decided to throw all that out the window. I just gave it a chance. I'm like, you know what? Fine. My coach was like, can you just believe for like 5 seconds, please? Please, please, please. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And I started to read books and I opened up my mind a little bit more. And all these things, I don't want to say started to fall into my lap because I think that they were put there for a reason. But I was like, ooh. So open up your mind, learn to master your mindset, control your thoughts, and that is when you will become unstoppable and do the unthinkable. And that's my spiel.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. I had like 3 pages of notes. I love the part when you said it's you against you. And I think that gets overlooked so much in this business because we have a tendency, I have done this so much that I will look for outside influences of why things aren't working. And it's hard to blame yourself, but really that's what it comes down to it. And so this has been an amazing talk, and I would know people have questions. So I'm going to let you ask your question. So if you want to just unmute and ask Colleen a question, that would be amazing.
And to answer the questions in the box, I did marry the man who left me. And when we decided to get back together, I had to really prove to him that my head was out of my butt, because the way that he was raised and the way that he thinks is like absolutely mind-blowing. And he is the reason that I probably had to master my mindset. And so that's why I try to pay it forward to you guys, because I was kind of forced into it. And we, as much as we want to force everyone to master their mindset, I'm kind of begging you guys because it will change your life. And my husband is okay. He just actually had a CAT scan today. So he has 1 more year until he's fully cleared. So we have lots of scans and things, but he's alive and well and rocking. So thank you. Ooh. I just clicked out of the questions. There we go. This is when I usually encourage you guys to unmute yourselves. Get outside your comfort zone a little bit. It doesn't have to be about mindset. It can be about anything at all.
I'll ask a question to get it rolling. So when you're starting this for you, when you started, what was the best tactics you used to not fall back into those negative thinking, that negative thinking mindset? Because it's, when you say it, it sounds easy to a lot of new coaches that, you know, you must master your mindset. But did you have specific instances where you saw that creeping in? Is there something that worked really well for you?
Yeah, so I was a really big worrywart. And so when I lost, you know, all, like basically my whole life, my job and everything, like coaching had to work for me. So I was told that you'll survive in this business out of desperation, inspiration, or a combination of both. And mine was absolutely desperation mainly. And so I had no control over my income in the beginning, really. Like, yes and no. I made $500 my first month, which changed my life. I helped 6 challenge packs that I did just by sharing my story and being honest. But then I started to be like, how am I going to do it again the next month? And the one thing that I did was I made sure to show up every single day. So if I can give you guys a piece of advice, I show up 365 days a year, unless I like legit cannot get on the internet. And I don't mean like I am a workaholic, but at the same time, I just check in. I just know what's going on. I just have a good idea. I'm touching my team in some way. I'm inspiring someone. And so you bet on Christmas, I log in for 10 minutes and I show up every single day. Or maybe I do my workout that day. In some way, shape, or form, imagine if every single one of us on this screen showed up every single day and did one of the most badass posts on social media that rocked everyone's world in their network, how much more successful you would be. If you feel like you can't do anything else, go read personal development, go do your workout. And if you still don't feel a little better, you and I need to talk a little bit more. But I really believe that like showing up every day and not being a fly on the wall and being a little bit more bold, sharing it, talking about it, puts it out there to the universe. And what you put out there comes right back to you. So that's probably like my best advice. My dog is clawing the door. Sorry, 1 second. Let me let him out. Jet, stop. Sorry. It's like being a mom, right? Dog mom.
So there was a question on PD development for self-confidence. Do you have any recommendations for self-confidence for PD?
Yes. So I did this call last night and it popped into my head and I was like, why didn't I think of this before? So here's my deal with self-confidence. You guys could read books until you're blue in the face. It may or may not change your life. Not everyone's the same. Like some books speak to other people. Again, it's perspective, right? It's where you're at in your life. Here's my recommendation for self-confidence. Take a few blows. Get out there, do something scary. I'm not saying like ask for haters or ask for uncertainty, but like take a few blows, be okay with it and realize that you're going to be okay. that's going to empower you to realize that you're still hanging on and that you're still doing okay. If you don't engage in your team page and show up on time and realize that everyone else is struggling just as hard as you, they feel just as scrutinized as you, you're trying to do this alone. And I feel like that's when we feel very, I don't want to say bad about ourselves, but like if I didn't engage in this community and network with people, if I was just a fly on the wall, I would seriously feel alone in this process. But what's so empowering to me is when I watch someone else who's in the same shoes as me overcome an obstacle, and we do it together. But to give you recommendations on self-confident books, I have it on my phone. I didn't really read that many self-confidence books. Hold on, sorry. Because I always had self-confidence somewhere, and it was shot down. And the way I cured that was action. And so you guys work for Team Beachbody. Commit to a program. You just listen to Danielle Natoni speak on the finishing a program from beginning to end. If you don't feel confident after doing a program from beginning to end and sharing it, again, we need to talk some more. But I don't know if like just telling everyone the books galore are everything. I don't have it in here anymore. I'll get back to you. I'll send it to Chelsea, but I mean, I don't know. You Are a Badass is probably like the best book that there is out there. So, but take a few blows, be okay with it, be a little vulnerable. And I swear that in a weird, odd way might help your self-confidence a little bit. And if you're the fly on the wall on the team page, it's the biggest mistake you can make. Like, get all up in there. See how you can be a giver. Oh, this might help. The Go-Giver by Bob Berg. That book reminded me that I have to give and give and give and give and give 10,000 times more before I'm ever going to get. So if you want to get self-confidence, be a giver, because that feels really darn good. Oh yeah, Shalene Johnson has Confidence Club. Totally forgot about that, and I invested in it for my team. Whoops. So yeah. But I mean, you guys have to be ready for it to sting a little bit, because I actually did go through the modules, and she's like, if you're shy, you're not a kid anymore. You're not hiding behind your mom's knees saying, I'm shy. Like, you got to get out there. So, again, that's kind of why I say take a few blows. I'm a tough love kind of coach. Sorry.
Anyone else have a question? All right, I'm going to give you a big hallelujah to replacing the word fear with stumble, by the way. I loved that. And I'm already doing it in my head. And it's going to work. It works so much better because we just have these unrealistic expectations of what's going to happen to us if something happens that we just make so much bigger in our head. And so just replacing that one simple little word will make such a huge difference, because just like that John Addison call at leadership, where he said, it's not a problem if you can take care of it with a paycheck. And that's the same thing. Fear is an unrealistic something in your head that you've done. And so replacing that with stumble, I think that's such an amazing tip. So I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on the call tonight. I think there's going to be a lot of amazing takeaways, and I really appreciate your time.
You're very welcome.
All right, everyone have a great night.
Bye guys. Wake up. Be awesome.